Welcome to this hot seat with Maxine, Maxine Gomez. I'm so happy to have this conversation finally with you. We were talking about our expertise and said, okay, we have to help the world to heal because there are many threats, and that's why we're having this conversation today to support and bring consciousness. Thank you, gracias, Maxine. Well, you're the mold expert and you have had a lot of experience healing houses, persons. Well, not directly healing, as we say, like the philosophy of healing is allowing nature to do its work. We just guiding the harmony and clearing out what is taking away the health from us. So, yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's beautiful to see the work that you're doing and how it overlaps because really this is why I wanted to connect with you and so many other experts because there's so many brilliant people doing their work in their lane. And so they're so concentrated on their lane that it's hard to see over. And by that I mean that we have doctors that are well intended and they want to help heal their patients, but they might not understand the environmental factors on their patient's body. So you may go to a doctor and get treated for something and they've never asked you, do you have mold in your home or has it ever been tested? And vice versa, we have great remediators, people doing work in buildings, and then we don't help the people take the next step to then clear their body after they've been exposed.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing where these collaborations come, all the healthy things, it's wonderful to know your own body, but there's no amount of supplements or meditation or cleanses or detox that are going to help if you're always recontaminating yourself. So how do we empower ourselves to look at the environmental factors and be aware that there are things that we can improve to improve the quality of the air we breathe and therefore our health?
Yes, so we're going to highlight some things we can do to improve our environment and things, for example, that I share in Epigenetics of Healing and the triggers that can detonate healing or illnesses. So, yeah, I would like to ask you, well, first of all, thank you for showing me blind spots in my own space that were infecting me. I'm a health coach, I'm doing everything well, training, eating well, nutrition, and biohacking, red light, sunlight, everything, like we get into these trends, but we all have blind spots. So you help me with the main entrance or vector of contamination. There was AC, some placards of my house, some things that are so usual in our lives that we stop seeing them. It's like our nose. Like our nose, we have them always in the spectrum of the vision. If you pay attention, you will see your nose, but we choose to ignore it because it's always there, right?
Yeah, it's the nose blind, right? We talk about this a lot going into houses of hoarders that are people who collect things, and they collect things and animals and things that accumulate dust. And one of the things I teach in class is that if you're going for an inspection, you should always wear a mask because you never know what environment you're walking into. And then you can always hide your reaction because some people are nose blind to their own environment and you don't want to be all disgusted walking into someone's home. So the mask serves two purposes. But in the same
You
way,
did very well the first time you came here to hide your reaction. You were like getting inflammation of the mouth, like being cordial and gentle.
I said, I'm sorry, I have to sit outside. Because once you are exposed to it, we were talking about this a little bit, that then you become overly sensitive, right? And then as you go through your healing process, this pendulum swings back to where your body is built back, you have the resilience to handle things, and things don't become so overwhelming. But yeah, now having been exposed to mold, even a little bit somewhere, I can notice it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And mold does a funny thing on people and your nervous systems where it makes you kind of apathetic. So you might be looking at this one little spot and you're going, I'm looking at the mold growing there and I can't do anything about it because it does something that makes you apathetic and you just don't want to do anything about it, and that's how it survives. So it's not just pointing out the blind spots, because sometimes you just can't bring yourself to do it. Because there's a reason you're contaminated by it and it's trying to grow and take over. And so sometimes you just, like, we all need each other, you know? We need each other for that extra push to see what we can't see, to find those little spots, and to say, hey, we can clean this up together.
Yeah, one hand washes the other, you know, like the hand cannot wash on its own back. So that's why I like this collaboration and synergies, because we can help each other. Like, I have these blind spots and now I have the sensitivity. Now I can feel it. For example, if I sleep a nap in a room that is still a little bit contaminated, then I go and expose myself to sunlight and I feel the mold dying, or like the infection a little bit. And it's like, okay, I need to keep doing this and be more aware next time where I'm sleeping the nap, or the ventilation around, or even the clothes that I wear. Like, you were very dramatic with or drastic with the clothes. It's like, no, it's very hard to get it out. It's very hard to get it out. And there are some clothes that I could recover, and there are others that is really not worth the effort. It's like sacrifice of that material for your own health. And my health coaching practice philosophy is health is the first wealth. And other approach that I have is like, we are in war. Like, I realize that this is a war for our inner terrain, for our mind, that the strategies of these beings, because there's another realm, the fungi realm, that is trying to conquer us from inside and makes us apathetic to being able to see, or even makes a very big gap, like a mental distance, for us to be willing to do something about it, right? And with this reflection, what else would you share with the persons that are starting to clear themselves or to be aware of this?
Well, the first thing is to make sure it's not there. So I always give the tips and tricks that I give to the inspectors that we train on how to go about an inspection. So if you can, for a moment, treat your house like it's not yours, right? Go looking at it for the first time and start from the outside. If you're in a condo or in a building, or if you're in a house, as much as you can go around the exterior of the perimeter, you're looking for entry points of moisture. So if it's raining and you have a caulking failure in the window and it's getting in through the windows, if you have not painted in a while and you have cracks on the outside, anywhere where humidity can get in is enough where water can get in. And if water can get in, then mold can get in. So even those thin little cracks are enough to allow moisture to permeate through the structure. So going around the outside first.
Right. So looking where are the vectors of entrance of moist, that is going to be like the creep, you know, like the
entrance. Even if there are trees or bushes or branches touching the actual exterior of the structure, that's enough for insects to get on the structure. And so if insects are coming in, they're finding holes. So even trimming back plants from touching the structure, that helps create a more sealed envelope. And then on the inside, same thing. That couch that has been against that wall for the last 10 years, you might want to move it back and see what's behind the wall. Linen closets that are stacked to the rim with towels and sheets, those need to be rotated. Moving everything to the center of the room to look at each and every corner to see where water could be coming from, where moisture could be trapped, where air could be trapped, are really the first points that you're looking for. And then of course anywhere where there is actual potential for water, like plumbing. So you want to look under the sink cabinets, where the shower is. If you have a jacuzzi tub, is it draining properly? All the little, wherever there's plumbing, you have a better chance of moisture coming through. So you want to look to make sure cabinets are dry and clean.
And well isolated, right? The pipes, because a leak, or just like when it goes around the pipe, just a little leak, that can be.
That's enough. That's enough for it to start growing.
And that's why your company is called Dry Tech, right? It's all about dryness.
Keeping it dry. Yes.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. And it's a matter of humidity because it can feel dry and then it rains and you still get humidity in.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to having your particular structure in balance. Because you can have the same two houses right next to each other and one has air conditioning on or one has a fan on or one leaves the windows open. And so even in the same exact space, you may have to calibrate your humidity a little differently.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was one of the main blind spots you showed me, the AC filters. It was not enough to clear it normally, to take the dust for the air to go through the filter. It was like, take away the mold that is attached inside the net of the filter with a fungicide. That was the first step I did. Then the air circulation is beneficial. Otherwise, we are reinfecting the whole place. And I felt it a lot in my nostrils, in my quality of sleep. All of that was a key that you shared with me. So thank you again for that.
I'm so glad you're feeling better. Because people say all the time, oh, but mold is natural. Yes, mold is totally natural, and there are definitely good molds that are healthy for us and bad ones that can contaminate us. So we think that mold is it's not something new. In fact, they talk about it in the Bible, and they say
Yes. So you're saying that in the Bible also addresses mold.
yes, but they suggest to burn it down.
Burn it down.
Yes.
Okay.
So since we're not going to go around just burning houses and we have modern technology to actually resolve these things, we don't have to just burn things down anymore. But it's not a new thing, right? Mold has been mentioned, it's talked about for hundreds, thousands of years. The difference is that now we close in our living spaces and we create these sealed envelopes.
The shoebox.
The shoebox, exactly. And now we put air conditioning in the shoeboxes. So before, where we used to have open windows and circulating air and natural things being part of the ecosystem, now we've isolated it and put in fake air and conditioned it. And so you have all of these artificially created environments that don't have the right mixture of humidity and natural air.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of our remediations is not just the removal and the cleaning of it, but then filtering in clean air.
Mm-hmm.
So mold as a science, the way that we are attacking it now, is a new science.
Mm-hmm.
But the mold itself and how we've dealt with it before is not new. So how do we rebalance our living environments to live in harmony with it? Because mold is a totally natural thing, but when it's out of balance in our contained area or in our body is when we start feeling the negative effects of it.
Yes. That's why we met in our conversations. Well, we were sharing some classes. I was talking on epigenetics of healing. She was talking on mold remediation. And I said, okay, this is a piece that is super important for our environment and the possibilities of who we can be. Because if we are crippled by the inflammation of the mold and getting reinfected and not really having a regenerative rest, that's going to affect all the areas of our life, right? That's going to be tolling for our mind. We are going to have foggy thinking, the emotions that we feel, the relationships that we can have are going to be all affected. So in epigenetics of healing, we talk on all these vectors and as well our perception, right? Because once we learn, when you have more consciousness on certain stuff, it's a little bit overwhelming. But the message we want to share mainly today is that there's solutions. There's solutions for everything. That's the positivity we have found in learning tools, sharing them, learning from each other. There's always ways to improve how we are, where we are. And well, mold, it's one of the most insidious things that affects the nerves of the persons because it grows inside of you. You have humidity inside of you, right? We are 70-80% water, so we cannot let it run wild. We cannot let it run wild inside of us. It's part of this garden inside of us. So, what other optimistic message and resource you would like to share?
Well, going back to the filters, I have often said that if people knew to change their air filters, I would have been out of business a long time ago. So if you are not changing them monthly, you should be. And even cleaning out the ductwork. I just had a client in Miami and she had a brand new AC system installed, but when they installed it, they didn't clean the ductwork. So she had a brand new handler, but the old ductwork. So she was once again just recontaminating her air. So now she has to have the whole system cleaned from the beginning, even though it's a new system.
Mm-hmm.
So maintenance, right? There's a reason why we're taught the old wives' tales of spring cleaning and delousing and all those things that we picked up along the way from our ancestors. There's now science behind it, right? Mm-hmm. We understand that we rotate the clothing in our closet and in our linen closets, and we got to get behind all the corners and look to see where areas are affected, because that's part of the thing too, is that we're not taught to maintain our home.
Mm-hmm.
We give, you go look at a house and you can buy it the next day, and then you're supposed to live in it for the next 10 years, and nobody showed you how to use any of the things.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that is getting empowered to take over your own structure, right? Be the master of your domain, know how the things work and how to maintain them and how to operate them, so that they don't start accumulating dust and mold and all those fun things that we then have to deal with either. Because it's kind of like, it's like going to court, right? It's always more expensive without the attorney, So if you're going in there, if you're trying to save a little bit by not doing what you should be doing, right? If you're, I'll change the filter next month, then that allowed that month for things to start accumulating and growing. So every time we put our maintenance aside, we're losing the battle.
Yeah, everything has to be preventative. Like, as my teacher tells me, a gram of prevention is a ton of problems saved. And I have seen it in all fronts. For example, when you're talking about the house, if we consider ourselves a house, we also go through cycles. And I see people getting into a diet. Okay, this is a fixed diet. They eat all the time the same, like this amount of nuts, and they're trying just to standardize everything. The same with the houses. Monoclimate, same temperature all year long, and nature does not work that way. We go through cycles. There's circulation not only inside of us that we need, with the air, with the water, with the food, also through the seasons, right? Like, we need to rechange certain organs according to the seasons. And that's how we heal diabetes, fatty liver, nerves problems, bones, skin diseases, understanding how nature works. So we are reconnecting and learning again the logics and the science of healing, of health, being at our best. And what I love is performance, right? To be at feeling and doing our best in life. That's part of the spiritual mission, where it connects. It's not only a biochemical war inside of us, but it's also spiritual, because these guys, as we were talking about the apathy, these guys manipulate your mind. They take away your will. And I cannot think of anything more humiliating than parasites or spores controlling our mind and energy, time, relationship. They're stealing from us. So that triggers me, and that's why I want us to have all the tools to be at our best. So, Max, what we can do to reach out and connect with an expert like you, with you and your resources, where we can find you?
Yes, you can find me on my website, www.drytech247.com. There's a ton of free resources, ebooks. I want this information to get out. I want you to have what you need to feel good. There's a shop on there with all my favorite products of things I use for my detox. And if you have any questions, you can always book time with me directly.
She's amazing. She's so willing, so generous. So reach out to Max. You will not regret it. You will regret not reaching out to her. So if you're in Miami, you have all the companies settled there, but you work in different places.
International, yeah. The answers are pretty much the same around the world. So if you're willing, I'm able.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.